All right, Jim, our next question sent via email to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com is sent by FG. The title of the email is Right Place, Right Time. I have a question about Tully's...
Dr. John!
I have a question about Tully's Perfect 10. The story is, when Crockett and Tully went to Texas, they were in search of Sunshine, who at the time was in rehab, and they went with Nicola Roberts. How would the whole angle with Dusty, Magnum, and later against you and the Horsemen played out differently if Sunshine was hired instead? Reminds me of how Ray Traylor, who became Big Bubba, was just a perfect person in the right place for the role at the time.
Okay, where does the story come from? Have you heard this story before, Brian?
I had never heard that. Well, certainly not that Jim Crockett and Tully Blanchard went to Texas looking for Sunshine. I never heard that.
Well, yeah, this is not like Watts took Jim Ross and a cameraman to fucking search for Stagger Lee.
No,
no. Okay, for one thing, no, Tully didn't ever say, "Hey, Jimmy, let's go to Texas and try to find Sunshine." At the period of when Baby Doll started with Tully for Crockett, it was what, 1985 early on, right? Or late 84.
If it wasn't late 84, I think it would have been early 85, I think. Because Starrcade 85 is obviously one of the moments I always think about with her or with Tully.
Well, yeah, and they'd already established that. So, because I know she was there by the time we came in summer of 85, point I'm making. It wouldn't have been hard to find Sunshine. She was working in goddamn Dallas against me in fucking April and May and June and July of 1985. She wasn't in rehab. It may have been a blessing at the time, but she wasn't there. And the way that they found Nicola was that she was Nick Roberts's daughter. Nick Roberts was the promoter in Lubbock, and I think he had taken over Amarillo by that point, the West Texas towns, for the Texas office. But Tully had seen her, before Tully being from San Antonio, they had, she was not a secret that she existed, that suddenly she was standing by. Oh my God, look at her. They knew her. She was part of the wrestling family. And I can't remember whether it was Tully or whether it might have been Flair going out there for title defenses and just seeing Nicola backstage, visiting her dad's business. And obviously she was interested in the wrestling business, but the only story I ever heard centered on she was a strikingly tall, healthy-looking young lady that either Flair or somebody had seen when they were out there and suggested that, and Dusty would have been no stranger to who Nick Roberts was. And the Perfect 10 thing was kind of the rib. They found a girl bigger than Tully, and she was dressed up at first in the punk rock, kind of shit, like as a Mad Maxine type of, she's his bodyguard and she's bigger than he is.
And that's how she was dressed when she was in Dallas as Andrea the Lady Giant.
That's right. And she had worked for what, 2 or 3 months, maybe.
Yeah, she was aligned
already on the shows.
She was aligned with Gino and Jake Roberts and that whole crew.
As a matter of fact, okay, and Flair went down and defended the title and came back and said, "Oh, you got to see the Nick Roberts' daughter is dressed up and she's 6'1" or whatever." That's what it was. But yeah, Andrea the Lady Giant. That's thankfully she slipped that one early, because that would have been kind of. But yeah, Baby Doll, and the promos that Tully did, the Perfect 10 is coming, making you think you're going to see some supermodel out of a magazine, and here's Baby Doll. And that was part of the fucking heat.
Do you remember when the movie 10 came out with Bo Derek and how That kind of did.
You know I do, brother.
Did that popularize the phrase with you? The idea of she's a 10?
Well, it didn't popularize it with me. I've never went around, using it frivolously, but it made everybody in America aware of it. Everybody knew that's what what was 10 came out, 78? I bet you.
78
I bet
or
you if you look it up.
Hold on, let's see.
I got the Playboy too, by the way.
79.
All right, prick. But yeah, so this is 1984. It's still part of normal daily terminology. So everybody knew what the fuck the deal was.
Is there any joke about the idea that, Baby Doll next to Tully is kind of like Dudley Moore next to Bo Derek?
Well, I think he looked more like Dudley Moore than she did Bo Derek. But, Brian, the thing is, I never fucked a 10, but one night I fucked 5 2s.
Did anyone ever hit you harder in your career than that one shot that's on camera where you're backing up and she punches you as hard as she can right in the back of the head?
Yes. You want to know who?
Yeah.
Baby Doll in St. Louis when she hit me in the front of my fucking head. She dislocated my jaw with a slap she was supposed to miss. I missed an elbow drop on Magnum or whatever, and he rolls over and tags Baby Doll, and I come up, and I'm supposed to turn around and see her and go, like that, and fall backwards on my ass and tag out as she swings a slap at me. Like, missed it by that much. And then they'd milk it till the finish when she really got a hold of me. When I went, she slapped me and dislocated my fucking jaw while my mouth was open. And I couldn't chew without pain for 3 or 4 days. And for years, the left, because she's right-handed, right? So my left side of my jaw here, right outside your ear, would click when I opened it a certain way or width or whatever. So yes, the only time anybody ever hit me in harder than she did in the back of the head was when she hit me in the front of the head.
I know it's not like there's any heat right now, but this is years after the fact. But at the time, in the moment, is there anyone, was that the first person you worked with who you actually didn't get along with professionally? Like there were problems in the back, you guys, she literally shoot punching you whenever she could on camera.
Well, we laughed about it at the time because I knew she didn't know how to work. I worked with her for big time wrestling in Spartanburg, in 2017, we had a fucking reprise of our goddamn feud and had a single match for 10 minutes.
So you don't think it was revenge for you going off on her when they tried to pull the rib on you being arrested?
Well, no, a lot of this shit was before that.
Okay.
See, and that's the thing also is if she couldn't work any better in Spartanburg in 2017 than she could in 1986, but I couldn't, I would joke about it, but I couldn't get mad about it because she didn't know how to work. But that I did get a little grumpy the one night at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Again, the finish, I think it was her and the Rock and Roll Express maybe, but at the finish, they tagged me in and one of two things was going to happen. I was either going to run from the male baby faces and turn into her knockout punch, or she was going to chase me down, tackle me, and fucking give me the knockout punch. She chased me around the ring. When she tackled me, she tackled me. She was on top of me. We were going down face first with me on the bottom. And so I put my hands out to cushion my fall. And she was so tight on back of me that when my hands landed, her face went into my elbow and it cracked her teeth, chipped her front teeth. And she actually got mad and went home to go to the dentist because I chipped her teeth. I'm like, goddamn, you tackled me like Dick fucking Butkus and you're on me so fucking tight that when I try to protect my face from being smashed in, you chipped your teeth on my elbow. But yeah, she consistently potatoed me more than anybody else that I ever worked with in my career.
And what about Sunshine? Just to finish the comparison, when you worked with her, how many times did she get her hands on you and what was that like?
Oh, no. What did she?
Did she get her hands on you?
Well, no, here's the thing. In the angle leading up to this was one idea that I had that they didn't shoot down. The thing to lead to Tarrant County Convention Center, the Fort Worth Star Wars event. We did the interviews, Sunshine and I, where our men had ill dealings in the ring, but then I got personal with her and we would joust verbally back and forth. And then I challenged her to a battle of the sexes where I would prove that women ought to be in the kitchen rattling the pots and pans. I'm doing the Andy Kaufman thing. It's fucking June 1985, right? They had seen it, but they hadn't seen it on local Dallas wrestling. You got to be rattling the pots and pans around. And I hit her with the lines. You know, Sunshine's not her real name. Her real name's Virginia. They used to call her Virgin for short, but not for long. She's been on more street corners than the Dallas Times Herald. I got bleeped one time, but I said, Sunshine, you're nothing but I wish I could say the word slut on TV. And I made sure the lip readers got it. And it's Saturday night in fucking Dallas, right? I'm auditioning for Saturday Night Live. So finally, she does the promo. And I told her, I said, just go out and talk about how hot you've gotten over the things I've said. Cornette really makes me hot. And so she does the promo, you know, to Mark Lawrence there, like he stepped off a wedding cake. He's dressed in the deal. That Cornette just makes me hot. Everything he says, everything he does, he just makes me hot. And then I come out in my workout outfit, the sweatsuit and the towel around my neck. And I got a cup of water that I'm sipping because I've been doing jumping jacks and shit. And I do the whole promo. Richard Simmons is a family friend. I've been training, working out. I did push-ups. I did sit-ups. I did chin-ups. I threw up once. I'm okay now. Ready to go for you, Sunshine. I'm going to prove it takes a good man to beat you, but it don't take him long. But I heard you say that I'd made you hot. And I wanted to come out here and make amends for that because I didn't realize you were getting so hot at me. So I would just like to take this opportunity to say I'm very sorry and I would like to cool you off. And I threw the fucking big jug of water in her face. And she's drenched in her goddamn finery. And she had what's that? A suede skirt on, which it really fucked up. I think I'd made a comment about how she was dressed also. But I threw the water. I embarrass her. She's screaming mad. She wants to get a hold of me. And then they say, well, we can't advertise a man versus a woman in the state of Texas because of what they were calling the commission at that time, Department of Labor and Standards, I believe. So it's going to be an exhibition. And I got tricked into, well, I'm going to be blindfolded. But instead of having a match, all Sunshine has to do is prove that if I'm blindfolded, she's got to knock me off my feet. And if she doesn't, then I'm going to take that blindfold off and I'm going to give her what she's got coming. And once I'm blindfolded, Bronco Lubitsch is distracted by Sunshine. Kabuki, her guy, comes in, gives me the super kick, knocks me the fuck out of me, dives out of the ring. I fucking groggily pull the hood off as the people are screaming and yelling, yay! And there's Sunshine standing over me. I think she did it. The referee raises her hand. We built that for 6 weeks for a 30-second payoff. But it was one of the feature fucking matches. But that's... With Sunshine, the question was physical. I couldn't hit a woman on their TV or anywhere else, especially at that time. And she couldn't really do anything because she couldn't work either. So we built it up to where the people wanted to see it more than they wanted to just see her humiliate me, and they didn't care how it happened. The one time she did something to me, I took her down to the sportatorium one day before we went to a spot show or whatever and showed her how to arm drag me. And so when we were doing a confrontation in one of the promos, and she said, well, Kabuki has been teaching me a few things. I come out and interrupt. Oh, yeah, you're learning martial arts. Yeah, Bruce Lee. Ha, ha, ha. And I pointed her. I said, "You think I asked the fans. I said, "Do you people actually think that this puny little girl could even take me off my feet?" And when I point at her, she grabs my left arm. She ducks down. She arm drags me. Over I go, and I pop up. Oh shit! And the place blew. And then I get out of the ring because I'm scared. That's all they needed.
One last question.
Does that answer the question?
One last thing about this, now that we're talking about women being stiff with you or not being stiff with you.
I've been stiff with a few women, I'll have you know.
Misty Blue, when you worked with her, could she work? I mean, was she able to do anything?
No. I mean, no, well, Misty, they were very nice young ladies that I didn't have any problem with. But they were self-trained, indie trained. Misty's husband, that was her agent, that had her in not only the wrestling business, but also the starring roles in the world's absolute worst pornography that's ever been shot.
Well, the other girls,
planet.
The other girls were too, right? Linda Dallas and
yes,
yeah,
yes, the whole group, and it would put you off fucking. This porno was so bad, and he was in one of them. Good Lord, that really, I don't know how he talked to anybody into doing anything, but nevertheless, they were just self-trained and they weren't real good, but they weren't like trying to hurt you or anything. But when we did the angle on TV, on TBS, where Misty Blue wants me to show her how Bob Eaton flies off the top rope, and when I turn around, she's supposed to drop kick me. That was to set up the 8-man in Baltimore with me and Bobby and Stan and Murdoch against Dusty and Barry Windham and Misty Blue and who was Nikita Koloff. I turn around and she jumps and she drop kicked me. Literally, if she'd have potatoed me, I would have been sterile from that point on. She drop kicked me in the lower belly, upper crotch. And that was, I still went down, but it wasn't the most sparkling bump I ever took, because how do you sell a drop kick to the fucking crotch? But, you know, I had good matches with Sherry Martel.
Well, she
and a good one with Luna Vachon.
She knew how to work too.
But Misty Blue in the cage, again, it was kept till the end, and I can't even remember exactly how she beat me that night. But we did $103,000 in Baltimore in a snowstorm in 1987. So there you go.